Hello and welcome back to the Guts and Glory MMA podcast. It has been a while. On today's show, we're going to look back at last night's fight at UFC 271. We're going to talk about the upcoming Nationals next week, and we're going to talk about the upcoming Bellator Dublin card, as well as a few other items. On this week's show, I am joined by Mr. Greg O'Sullivan.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. And yourself?
Very good. Will we crack on?
Yeah, let's be getting on. Let's be getting on.
I want to fight with Chuck. Chuck.
That's cleaner than anyone of Liam's.
Where you at, McNuggets, you fucking piece of shit? I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods.
This is number one bullshit.
You can't stop us at Beer Express. Choo-choo,
Pull down the volume there, small man. So, on today's show, we are going to be talking about UFC 271, but before that, we do have a few other items we need to talk about. Obviously, next week, we have the very first inaugural national championships for amateur MMA in Ireland in the junior and senior categories across multiple weight classes. And we at Guts and Glory are actually going to be covering the event live. We have the guys from The Energized Show, we have the guys from the Old Triangle podcast on Severe MMA, we have Raz from Everything Era MMA joining us, so we've got a stacked broadcast for you next week. So something to look forward to. But touching on the Nationals, we saw how well Ireland did in the IMAFs just a couple of weeks ago, well, a few weeks ago now at this point. And this is a platform, it's a 3-day event. It's going to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Run the same as the IMAF events, where you're going to have quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the finals then on the Sunday. It's a huge opportunity for all the athletes competing, amateur athletes. I know you're looking to turn amateur in the near future and something you're looking to do. Having this kind of platform and national championships, is it something that you'll be looking to take part in a couple of years?
Yeah, definitely 100% now. It's a massive opportunity for everyone involved, really, and this is obviously this is the first one going out, so whoever becomes the national champion creates history straight away. So massive opportunity for everyone involved, and definitely as soon as I get a couple of fights under my belt, I'll be
aiming for that national
100%.
championship.
I'm coming for that belt as well.
There's some stacked divisions at it as well. I mean, you have the lightweight division is full up. You have welterweight division is stacked. Middleweight division is stacked. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff you have. There's some are straight to finals, and there's some people are picking up medals based on there's no one in the category. It's the very first one, so there wasn't a huge take up on it this time compared to the amount of athletes we do have. But I mean, you look at some of those divisions, and they are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. As you said there now, lightweight, I think really, in my opinion, is most stacked.
Yeah.
You just have, I don't know, was it 6 or 8 lads who are just absolute beasts? Yeah. 8. Welterweight and middleweight, then we have our own Daniel Sullivan and Ethan Gerwin, 2 beasts in their own right as well. It's going to be a great day of fights.
Is Liam all giving you shit in the comments already?
I can't really say anything now because
what do you have to say?
I like how Greg fucked up my intro just like I do. I got that right.
Liam, to be fair, he did a better job than you do most weeks. You mumble your way through it most weeks.
And also he's saying, Greg, smile. I'm just going to try and keep myself off camera now for as much as possible.
Liam throwing shade. Liam, if you're watching the show, you might jump on Zoom if you're going to be that fucking involved in it. We'll be getting you in more shit. But yeah, look, with the Nationals, it's something that it's not going to get the biggest coverage, but by doing this and by running the live show, which is going to be live streamed on the IMA Facebook page, it's going to be live streamed on YouTube, it's giving these guys an opportunity to showcase what they're about. The level of talent at amateur in Ireland at the moment is frightening. You have featherweights, the featherweight division, which we didn't mention, is stacked. Bantamweights, even though there's 6, is another stacked division. Saturday and Sunday in particular there's going to be world-class fights at it. And there's the added caveat of whoever wins in the divisions from bantamweight up to heavyweight and male, and in the, I think it's strawweight or flyweight and bantamweight women get to compete for Ireland at the Super Cup, which is coming up in Bahrain in March. Yeah. And again, the fact that Ireland got picked for that is absolutely massive. It means they're considered in the top 6 countries at amateur level in the world. Yeah. And you're going in against Russia, Tajikistan, Dagestan, Bahrain, and a couple of other invited like groups of winners. But yeah, huge opportunity for everyone, and really looking forward to it. And we'll be sharing over over this week where to view it and stuff like that on our platforms as well, for anyone that's interested. And what's he saying?
He's washing the wear.
I'm washing the wear. He's washing his hair. We'll be sharing it over this week coming, where you can find the live streams and stuff like that on the IMA pages. But it's definitely something to look forward to next week. 3 days of live fights. We're looking at, 31 fights over 3 days?
Yeah, probably something like that.
31 fights, so it's going to be absolutely stacked. We are going to talk about Bellator Dublin as well, which is a phenomenal card coming up in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. And a lot of home interest on that one. Do you want to pull up the card there and we'll have a look at it? So first time in Bellator in a long time that we don't have an Irishman headlining the card in the Tree Arena, but we are being treated to a great title fight in that one. You were laughing at me earlier on asking about Gegard Mousasi. Has he actually had 57 fights?
That's an insane amount of fights, really, to be fair. I mean, like I genuinely thought that was a typo. I was like, there's no way in hell he's got 48 wins. Like, that just doesn't make sense.
Before his 40th birthday, and the guys fought heavyweights, light heavyweights, middleweights, and the dude still doing the damn thing at nearly 40 years old. But with 57 fights, this is what I can't get over. 57 fights and 48 wins. I mean, that's whatever about fighting that many times, but to be keeping up your win record that high and only 7 losses in that amount of time is absolutely scary. Now, he's gone in against Austin Vanderford, who has great wrestling, and if he gets on top of you, his ground and pound is absolutely brutal. So it's going to be a good fight. Austin was due a title fight, but he's coming up against a Gegard Mousasi. Whether Gegard Mousasi is still 100% the Gegard of old, it could be a bit of a passing of the torch, but certainly a treat for the Irish fans to be getting that one in the Tree Arena. Definitely. Now, onto the Irish fighters. Yeah. We have Peter Queally is taking on Kane Moussa, one of the UK fighters. Peter Queally, of course, coming off the title loss to Patricky Pitbull in the Tree Arena not so long ago. Gonna bounce back in this co-main event, hopefully. And I think this is a relatively easy fight for Peter. It's a stylistically good matchup for him.
Yeah, definitely. And like obviously he was unfortunate in the last fight, really, with the loss, but he definitely will be looking to bounce back in a big way here, and especially in Dublin, like, he's coming for that win again, like.
100%. And it's one of those, he got the title opportunity, right, in a deep enough top of that division is deep. What's he away? Another 2 wins and he gets another crack at the belt, you'd imagine?
Yeah, probably something. Like, I mean, again, I've talked about this before. I don't really like the whole kind of revolving door system, which is kind of go back to 2 wins and you're back in the title frame. But, I mean, he is a proven fighter.
Yeah.
And, like, he draws a crowd, especially in Dublin, obviously, like, you know. But, yeah, I think 2 fights, 2 wins, and he's back in there, right?
For sure. And then we have the Battle of the Irish Women, which has caused some controversy, and there's been a lot talked about it. You have Leah McCourt against Sinead Kavanagh. They've trained together a lot before, but I mean, it's 2 girls that are ranked in the top 10. When you get to that point, they're going to meet at some stage. I mean, you have 2 girls that Sinead's just coming off a loss to Cyborg for the title as well, and you've Leah who's on the way up on a win streak. It's inevitable that they're going to meet at some point. But to do it in Dublin on a Tree Arena card at Bellator, I mean, there's going to be absolutely fireworks at that. How do you see that one going?
I think Sinead, and I've said that to a few people, and they were kind of surprised by that pick. But I mean, Sinead's just a beast. Like whoever wins that fight, it's going to be a good fight either way. So like, I mean, it's going to be a good fight. So, but yeah, I think Sinead takes it right. Just the striking is just like.
That's it. Look, Sinead definitely has the edge on the feet and in the boxing range. But Leah's judo, Leah in the clinch, Leah when she gets it on the mat is very, very dangerous. I'm not saying Sinead isn't very capable on the mat, but Leah's, I think, is a little bit next level. Same way Sinead has the advantage in the boxing. It's a very tricky fight if it does go down to the mat.
Yeah.
But we discussed already about Peter and getting the title after a couple of shots. You can't see Sinead after a tough first round knockout loss to Cyborg getting another crack at the belt. If Leah wins, do you think she's next in line after beating Sinead?
I think it makes sense. I mean, obviously, if you beat the person who just fought for the belt, I mean, that would make
you
more
have
sense,
to
I
be
think.
right there.
Yeah. Do you think she wants to fight for the belt, Jerry? I know that's a stupid question now, obviously, but I mean, like, you're fighting Cyborg. That's not.
Nobody
That's
wants to
one
fight
fight.
Cyborg,
Yeah, exactly,
but it's for the when she's holding the belt, you kind of, if you want the belt, you have to.
Yeah.
Like personally, Leah's brilliant, but it's very soon in her career to be going in against someone of that experience, and
What
with
is it?
that killer instinct, and still doing it, even though a lot of people thought when she left the UFC that it was kind of a curtain call, and you know, she was going over to Bellator to cash some checks, and but I mean, the Bellator featherweight division right now is very strong
Yeah.
in the women's. There's very little left over in the UFC
Yeah.
by way of featherweights. Maybe they'll revive it now that Nunes has lost the belt at bantamweight. You don't know,
Yeah.
but there seems to be a kind of everyone moving over towards the Bellator division because that's where the majority of the talent is.
Mhm.
I mean, to be up and around the top of that division and to have two Irish women up at the top of that division, there's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of tough fights ahead of them. Cyborg obviously being the pinnacle of that.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon for Leah.
Yeah.
I don't like this matchup based on the fact that it's two Irish women
Yeah.
and you don't want to see one of them lose.
True.
But I don't like the matchup for Leah in particular because is she being pushed up towards that title shot a little bit too soon?
Okay. So you saying, would you rather have her a couple more fights and then fight for the title, or?
Oh, for sure. You want to see her maybe 3-4 more times, get that experience under her belt,
Yeah.
feel some more adversity. She had adversity in her last fight. She
Yeah.
overcame it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Mhm.
I get that.
Yeah.
But go through that 3 or 4 times. Don't like have that once and then think I've this puzzle solved.
Yeah.
I know I'm tough now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be a different level of tough to hang in there with Cyborg if Cyborg's teeing off.
100%.
So I could be proven wrong. She could go beat Sinead and do well against Cyborg, but
Yeah.
I would personally like to see her to get another 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah. And
Just my opinion.
just kind of looking at there now, I mean, Leia has only got 7 professional fights so far. I don't know what
Yeah.
Cyborg's record is at the moment, but
Cyborg has, if you click in Sinead there, it'll be her last fight. As far as I know, Cyborg has about 27 fights. So Cyborg's record there on the right. Go up.
oh yeah, jeez, yeah, okay.
25 and
20
2.
Yeah. So
25 and 2.
against 7.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If I was
She lost to Nunez and she lost to... Who else did she lose to?
Joe.
No, that's a Muay Thai fight. That wasn't an MMA loss. Oh, her very first fight. That's right. Yeah. I'd completely forgotten about that. I thought she was... in my head, I knew she wasn't undefeated, but yeah, like, I mean, the girl doesn't lose. She lost to arguably the best of all time,
Yeah.
or who will go down as the best of all time in Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
But she's over there and she's butchering everyone in Bellator at the moment and finishing people. I mean, she got her first submission victory in a long time in the fight before Sinead.
Yeah.
So she's just looking at different animal altogether again.
Yeah.
I don't... With 7 fights on your record,
Oh no.
8 after this one, I think it's way too soon for Leah to be taking that fight.
Definitely.
I'd like to hear 3-4 more fights before she gets up there.
I agree. Next up is Brian Moore.
Yeah, you've Brian Moore against John L. Lugo, and we were talking about this before it as well. And the kind of, my personal feeling is that Bellator have dropped the ball with the Bantamweight Grand Prix.
Yeah.
We were talking about how 4 or 5 of the guys in the Grand Prix in their last 2 fights have lost 2 guys all that are currently in the Grand Prix as well. So the matchups are a little bit stale.
Yeah.
You have 8 guys, don't get me wrong, 8 fantastic fighters, all deserve to be there.
Yeah.
But they did it at featherweight. They made a 16-man
Yeah.
tournament, and every fight was phenomenal. They've even more talent at bantamweight. I don't understand. Maybe it's the worry that because of COVID, the featherweight one got dragged out a lot, and it kind of went on for, I suppose, 2 years was the time frame on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think if you put 16 in it, no one's going to argue about holding up the belt because you have the top 16 fighters in the world competing to get towards the belt. And that they have they're contracted into a Grand Prix where they know they have an opportunity if they win their fights to get to the belt. But this is I suppose the kind of the offshoot of that is they picked the 8 guys, and now you have the guys outside of that are going to be battling to be number 8 or 9 in the world by the time this whole thing is done. And Brian got the opportunity to kind of call his shot and call out who he wanted for this Dublin card, being that he didn't get the Dublin card the last time. And he called for next guy down from the rankings, which was Lugo, undefeated at 7-0. Yeah, it's going to be a phenomenal fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Brian has kind of dubbed it as the winner. This is the best striker in the Bellator division.
Okay.
So he imagines the whole thing is going to be on the feet. I imagine Lugo will want most of it on the feet as well. It's going to be a good fight.
Fair enough. And obviously then the other Irish fighters we have are on the prelims, which includes Danny McCormack and Nathan Kelly.
Yeah, you have a couple on there as well. Yeah, Nathan Kelly, of course. Look, he's a bit green, but he's got a matchup that's fitting of his experience. And Danny McCormack, I mean, she's just steamrolling people at this point. Yeah. There's another girl who is going to find herself ranked very soon, and again on a very small record. The problem with the Bellator divisions right now is that in a lot of them there's not a lot of depth.
Yeah. And
you fighters getting to 5-6-0 and being ranked. I mean, you look at the bantamweight division. We just talked about it. Lugo is 7-0, probably deserving of a ranking. Yeah. Underneath him, you have Caspel, who's 5-2, and is, I mean, absolutely not deserving of a ranking. Yeah. In considering the depth that they do have, but under they have different stipulations. You have to fight and so long, whatever. And he ended up getting ranked, which is absolutely bananas. Yeah. But I've feared it. No, actually, less so for Danny, because I feel like she steamrolls her way right up to the top. Yeah. But Danny's got an opportunity to find herself ranked very quickly if she keeps going the way she's going. Yeah. We look forward to that one as well. And actually, Danny will be joining us on the live stream next weekend for a couple of the fights as well, so that's something to look forward to. A week out from the fight, we might chat with her about the preparation for the fight and stuff like that, so it should be good.
Yeah. Obviously we saw as well in Danny's last fight, she just, as you said, steamrolled her opponent. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even, I'm just going to say it wasn't even competitive.
She just looked way more physically strong than anyone she's competed against so far. Yeah. Now, I don't know much about her opponent this time out. She's 5-2, I believe.
5-3, I think.
5-3. Yeah. I mean, I just imagine Danny steamrolls her again. I don't know enough about her to be confident in that. But judging on what I've seen from Danny, it's going to take a Herculean effort to stop her on her way up to the top of the rankings.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, do you want to we talk about the UFC card last night?
Yeah, for sure. Before we get to that, though, Mr. Joe Rogan, the fuck is going on there? While we're on 271. Yeah. It's look, I get the whole fucking thing about him coming out and apologizing, because you've got to apologize. And I joke because I was the one. Well, we put out a video 2 years ago about me saying that should Joe Rogan get the axe from the UFC last year sometime. And I said, should Joe Rogan get the axe from the UFC? Because I have fallen out of love with his commentary purely because they mostly talk shit, and I don't know if they even watch the fights half the time. But for him to get cancelled out of it, which seems to be the line of thinking of what's going on at the moment, I mean, that's fucking all wrong. Surely you can't cancel Joe Rogan. The man is, I saw a stat somewhere about his viewership on his podcast. On a per episode basis, he gets on average 12 million individual viewers per episode. CNN News, which is one of the main worldwide news channels gets about 2.8 million. So he like the influence he has is
crazy.
scary.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call a man out on some shit, and I get it, the influence he has, but like to call him out on something that you've fabricated, he said the N-word. I get that, but contextual. They pulled all the context out of what was going on in the background. I agree. Maybe it's wrong to say it all the time. They just shouldn't be said. Fair. I get that argument. But to be cancelling the guy based on something, and he's come out and he's apologised, but it's just for it. And see, I don't know the line on this. He's saying that he had a conflict of interest scheduling.
Oh,
But there's rumours going around that Disney, who are they're over CME, the crowd, WMEIMG, who own the UFC now, actually cut him from the broadcast. I mean, if that's after happening, what are we what is the fucking world coming to if we're cancelling dudes for something they said on a podcast?
Like, I mean, obviously, if it is coming from Disney, I'm not surprised at all, because they won't hesitate, really. If you mess up, you're gone. Like, good luck. Like, it obviously proves now it doesn't matter who you are, even if it's Joe Rogan, you're gone. Like,
and there's the argument to say that Disney are protecting their image. They're for how many decades they're aimed at children. You don't buy the UFC and expect it to be fucking all roses and sunshine. Do you know what I mean? If you're going into business with the UFC, there's going to be expletives. There's going to be like, I mean, everything that happened with Conor McGregor and Khabib, stuff like that. I mean, there was racial undertones. There was kind of international conflict undertones. All this shit going on, and we just kind of brushed that under the rug. All of a sudden, some fucking idiot puts up a video about Joe Rogan, and we're gonna cancel the man. I mean, there's musicians pulling music off Spotify. Get a fucking grip of yourself.
It is a bit, like, it's a bit crazy when you think about all of it. It's just like, really have to go this far? I mean, Jesus, like,
it's bananas. If people have an issue with him, I get it. Make your point, but we shouldn't have the power to just fucking stop people doing what they're doing. Like, the man is making money. He's very good at what he does. He gives people a voice. Like, I've said this before, even though I was on the train of trying to fucking cancel him last year just for the UFC. What he does in his podcast, I'm a fan of. And
100%.
You can't be taken. Like, if Spotify pulled that deal on him, no, I mean, he'll move to a different platform. He'll always have his 12 million viewers, I would imagine. But the fact that if Spotify fold and pull out of the deal with him, it'd be an absolute travesty.
Definitely.
World's moving in a bad direction. Outside of that, though, we are going to talk about some fights. Will we start main event or start bottom up, or what you want to do?
Might as well start bottom up, I suppose. Say the best of last.
No problem. How about Izzy's boy Blood Diamond in the fucking second fight? Ooh, did he get found out? You see a lad 3-0 coming into the fucking UFC, though. He's got to be a superstar.
There's something there.
Like, you can't come into the UFC after 3 professional fights and think you're gonna fucking hang with these lads.
No, not a chance.
You've got to have like a fucking 50+ fight kickboxing record, or, you know, just something extraordinary. That's the reason. Or your name is CM Punk, and he's gonna get the shit kicked out of him as well. Like,
true.
But you're gonna get found out at 3-0 going into the UFC. All the fucking hype around him as well. I nearly backed him off the way Izzy was talking about him. Luckily, I didn't. Bigger fucking fool me. But I bought into the hype. I was watching this kid going, this fella's going to be unbelievable. Nope. So who was the opening fight? It was Maxim Grishin. And the boy the fat boy who was 100 pounds overweight, or whatever it was. 17 pounds overweight, William Knight.
Like, that is just crazy. Like, I mean, when your job is a professional fighter and your part of that job is cutting weight and making weight and fighting, 17 pounds overweight is just stupid.
Not just a part of your job, your contracted weight. You signed a goddamn contract for 205 pounds, and you're going to tell me on the day before the fight, sorry, we're making this a heavyweight fight. 17 pounds heavier. I mean, I wouldn't be... If he'd have won the fight, I reckon he would have got away with it.
Yeah.
I think he gets cut.
I wouldn't be surprised. He should do, really.
17 pounds overweight, puts in a horrible performance and gets touched up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, just a question also as well, like, just because this has happened before, obviously, Paulo Costa as well, and Martin.
yeah. But they're big names. William Wright's a guy that's come off Contender Series, has had a couple of fights. He hasn't done anything of note yet.
Yeah. But do you think so? If someone comes overweight, doesn't matter even if it's 0.1, just comes overweight anyway, how much, or do you think more of their purse should be cut as an incentive? Here, look, you need to make the weight. Like, this is the way it's done.
It depends on the state at the moment. It's somewhere between 10 and 30%.
Yeah.
I think it should be 90%.
Yeah, 100. I definitely agree now, because, like, I mean, after seeing that, that's just a joke. That's literally spit in the face of UFC.
Or for every half a pound, it's 10% extra or something. Do you know what I mean? It's a guaranteed 40%, and every half a pound over a pound, it's 10% extra.
Yeah.
You miss weight by 17%, you're giving up 100% of your fucking purse.
Yeah.
And you're still contracted to fight. You
Yeah.
don't fight, you get fucking sued.
Yeah.
Or fired. Get the fuck out of here. 17 pounds. He didn't even he mustn't have attempted to cut weight.
No, because, like, at some stage you have to realize I'm not making weight, and then at least, like, just do something. Like,
But
tell
s-
UFC, here, look, I fucked up, or do
But I get that.
something.
I get that with a guy who's 6 pounds and he can't cut the last 6 pounds. And
Yeah.
even that's too much. That's
Yeah.
way too much
Oh,
to
yeah.
be missing by.
Yeah.
17 pounds, he didn't attempt it.
No, not
He
even
couldn't
close.
have.
No.
He didn't diet. He didn't train.
Yeah.
He just went, fuck this, I'm going to juice up. Because he looked jacked.
Yeah.
I'm going to juice up and I'm going to go in and I'm going to take on this guy at fucking 100 pounds over the contracted weight and not give a shit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I reckon he gets caught. I'd be very surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, he should do really after that. Like, that's
Yeah.
a joke.
Who would be? Well, with the fucking Izzy's boy next, Blood Diamond. And answer me a question: has he legally changed his name to Blood Diamond?
I'm looking at it now. Probably. I think that's fairly stupid, to be honest. But
Because like do you know the way they give the name and nickname?
Yeah.
He walked out to Blood Diamond.
yeah, I'm just looking at it here now. It's just Blood Diamond. There's no other name apart from Blood Diamond.
I saw his name. He does have a name. It's not. He wasn't christened Blood Diamond, but
Yeah,
but he does have a name.
oh, he does actually. Yes.
Yeah, but like it's not used anywhere.
No.
Surely, if that's the case, he's legally changed his name to Blood Diamond,
Yeah.
like some fighters have done before.
Yeah, but like, if you're gonna change your name, change to something better than fucking Blood Diamond. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, gee, like, come on, like
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
world is your oyster, and you choose Blood Diamond. Like,
Yeah, it's a strange one. He's a long way to go before he belongs in the UFC.
oh yeah,
I hope for his sake that they put him on some developmental program, put him out to LFA, win a
Yeah.
couple of fights, because what's going to happen to that kid is he's going to get another fight in the UFC. Win or lose, he's not going to be up to the level, in my opinion. And then another fight, and after 4 or 5 fights, they're going to cut him, and at a youngish age, his career in the UFC could be done.
Yeah.
They should give him the opportunity now to go back to the fucking drawing board and get some wins.
Yeah.
It was just too soon.
next up we have Andrade versus Sergey.
Ho, 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 ho.
Yeah,
What a fight. How Andrade got out of the first round of that fight
I don't know. Like,
is an absolute mystery to me.
that is crazy.
The
That-
bigger he was bleeding a lot and he
Yeah.
took a bit of damage, but the end of that round, he was so close to being finished.
Yeah, that knee at the end of the first round, I was like, right, well, that's all she wrote. Like, but
It's done.
how he came out for a second round, then it's like, Jesus Christ.
Not only did he come out for the second round,
Yeah,
how many times did he drop Morozov in the second round?
I'd say at least 3 or 4. At
Oh
least.
yeah, I lost count.
Yeah.
But Morozov was like just, and again, a guy that should have been knocked out twice
Yeah.
before he was,
Yeah.
just kept springing back up like a fucking jack in the box,
Yeah.
even though he was out on his feet for about a minute and a half of that round.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't give up.
Yeah.
Phenomenal fight. I think they got fighted tonight. I'll have to look that up.
I'd be surprised.
I
if they didn't.
assume they did, yeah. But yeah, looking forward to seeing both. Are they bantamweights as well?
I think so.
135?
Yeah, bantam.
Fuck me, that bantamweight division is so stacked. Yeah, looking forward to both those guys fighting again.
Yeah.
Bright futures. And but in the bantamweight division, it could be another 4 fights before they get ranked.
Oh, easily. Okay.
But yeah. Very, very good fight.
Next up, we have Jacob. I'm not going to pronounce that.
Malkoon.
Thanks. And also AJ Dobson.
Yeah, I only saw bits and pieces. I was watching these while I was working last night. So I watched the first three to the pain of the fella I was working with looking at me while he was serving pints. But there was a couple where we actually got busy, and this was one of them. Was it a decision or did he win on?
Decision,
Yeah.
Unanimous decision.
It didn't look like the most interesting fight, but I could be wrong. Someone correct me in the comments if there's anyone watching. Correct me in the comments and see if that fight was worth going back and watching, but I haven't got a chance today. Did you see any of that fight?
No, I was working as well, so I missed that. But I mean, I was just kind of half looking at the fights.
Yeah.
Just every now and again, just take a look, see if there's anything happening. But
yeah, I watched like a minute or two here and there, but it didn't seem like the most exciting fight of all time anyway.
Yeah. And next up, we have Ronnie Lawrence versus Martinez. Again, to be honest, I missed this fight. Once again, unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Another bantamweight.
Yeah, I didn't see a minute of that fight. 1 minute. 1 minute. No, that was Ronnie Lawrence and Martinez. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it again, but I was actually impressed with Martinez.
Yeah.
I think his striking looks good. He looks kind of elusive, but Ronnie Lawrence obviously got the damn thing done. I didn't see enough of the fight to be scoring it like.
After that, you have Carlos Ulberg.
Carlos Ulberg, one of the sexiest men alive. Just putting it out there.
And also Fabian Charant.
Yeah, Ulberg, I took the piss out of him so bad after his UFC debut, because I don't know if you remember, he came off Dana White Contender Series, and you know the way after their Contender Series fights they have like a little backstage interview with Laura Sanko.
Yeah.
And Sanko was there. What would it mean for you to get the shafts, everyone? What would it mean to you to get into that UFC middleweight division or welterweight division? Sorry, light heavyweight, isn't he? Light heavyweight division.
Yeah.
And he was there, and he was like, "Well, you know, I mean, I've got the modelling, and I've got I'm like a surf semi-pro, and I've got other things going on. But yeah, it would also be great to call myself a UFC fighter on for my Instagram page." And I was like, oh, I hope he gets fucking butchered in his first fight. And he did. He got fucking the shit kicked out of him in his first fight. But he does have a kickboxing background. Again, Izzy was very high on this guy when he got into the UFC. And he looked pretty damn good in this fight. No level of opponent.
Yeah.
I don't know how good Charant is in terms of that division.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give Ulberg his due. I gave him enough shit after the last one. He did look pretty good in that one. It was a decent kickboxing performance. I wonder, like, a guy like that, how committed is he?
Yeah.
He didn't seem that interested about winning the contract for one.
Yeah.
He came out, he got the absolute shit kicked out of him. We haven't seen him in a year to 18 months. I'd like to see him get another fucking big test and another big hitter.
Yeah.
And see if he can, if he's changed anything from that first fight. At 205 as well, you can't be fucking around. You can't be taking that half seriously because you'll end up getting hurt.
Yeah. Interesting to see as well, though. He's 4-1, which again is not a very tall record.
Another guy who signed a 3-0.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. You have fighters that are in the UFC, big draws. You know, Izzy's just signed a new contract. Get my boy in. You know, but is Izzy doing him a disservice?
I think so. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to get someone into the UFC, fair play to you, but if they're not ready for the UFC, and the UFC is the pinnacle of MMA, you're basically throwing them to the wolves, which is really not going to help them in the long run.
They got to pay their dues, or you're not helping them by getting them to the UFC at that point in their career, because look, we could talk about some other people that are going into the UFC and they're getting the easiest fights of all time, and that could happen too. But for the most part, you get to the UFC, you're fighting someone who has done the damn thing to get there and is a proven quality fighter at that weight class. Like world class. You can say pretty much everyone that's signed to the UFC is world class. They're in the top 1% of the world. So to be put in there when you're just not ready, you're not doing them any favors.
Next up we have Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo.
Yeah, that Kyler Phillips, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah. So much-
Bantamweights again.
yeah, the bantamweight division is doing very well at the moment. Like,
Unbelievable. Like, Kyler Phillips isn't ranked.
yeah,
That'll tell you how fucking stacked that division is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the I know he's trained with O'Malley. I don't know if they're teammates because Tim Welch wasn't in his corner, but I know there's some connection there. I think they trained together some of the time or something like that.
fair enough.
But like, I get these images of Kyler Phillips and Sean O'Malley sparring.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be fucking insane. The way the two of them move. Kyler Phillips is called a matrix for a reason, and Sean O'Malley with that in and out movement. I'd say you could pay, or you could charge pay-per-view prices just for those fucking sparring sessions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, look, he's impressive, and he's worth the money. He should be on pay-per-views most of his fights.
And now I was just waiting for this one now to come up. We have Casey O'Neill and Roxanne. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
Roxanne Modafferi.
There we go. Yeah, what was your opinion on this fight now?
Oh my Jesus Christ! Listen, I'm after falling in love with an almost certified psychopath. She is tapped in the fucking head.
Yeah.
She booed all night as well by the fans. Right, so Roxanne Modafferi, legend of the sport, called a happy warrior. I mean, the girls already said this is her last fight, her retirement fight. Why she took it against Casey O'Neill is a fucking mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, her record is 25-20, and she went, I'm going to take on one of the toughest girls in the division, an absolute fucking killer for my retirement fight.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. But it happened. So Roxanne Modafferi walks out to start to the first round and goes to touch gloves. Casey O'Neill is having absolutely fucking none of it. She's throwing punches already. But it was in the second round when Casey O'Neill started lighting up with combinations and intermittently screaming, and I mean howling screaming. For anyone that's seen it, please comment. I mean, that is one of the most entertaining pieces of fighting I've seen in a very long time. The girl's a fucking serial killer. Like,
Yeah.
she has potential to be a serial killer.
Yeah. She's probably going to be under investigation after that fight. Just
Yeah.
if there's any unsolved mysteries in Scotland or Australia, they'll be looking at her for a prime suspect.
I was watching it because it was just before I left work to go home and watch the main card. We'd finished up and we were just watching this fight. And my buddy at work, he doesn't watch fights at all, but he'll sit down and watch the album with me if I'm staying on to watch that one. And he was watching it and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, what the fuck is wrong with that girl? This is a man now he's bigger than me, like he's fucking taller than me and he's a bit bigger than me. And he literally turned around and goes, if I saw that girl in a dark alley, I'd just tell her to have it. Whatever she wanted, she could have it.
And we were actually talking now today about the whole BMF belt.
But yeah, myself and Liam touched on it before about the baddest bitch in the UFC belt.
Yeah.
I mean, her name is written all over that thing. You can just call it the fucking Casey O'Neill
100%.
belt. Yeah, who'd she fight next? It's a fucking that division is getting far more interesting than it was. I know you have Valentina lording over it, but you have your Macy Barbers now, your Miranda Mavericks, and a few more coming through. Like, that division is looking very good. I'd like to see Casey maybe against Macy Barber, someone of that ilk. I reckon it'd be absolutely very entertaining.
And next up we have Andrea Lavsky versus Jared Van Der Aa.
For my sins, I missed this one, but I think Arlovsky just kind of outpointed him and outsmarted him, and Van Der Aa never let his hands go. From what I could see of it, Van Der Aa just never. He was pushing forward, but not really letting himself go.
Yep.
And the commentary team were kind of commenting on that maybe it was because Arlovsky, the power, and he clipped him a couple of times early, but I don't know if that played a part in it. I just think Van Der Aa was out of his depth in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, and another guy, you were talking about Gegard Mousasi. Pull up Andrea Arlovsky's record.
Just looking at it,
Andrea Arlovsky was UFC champion when I was in fucking nappies. What's his record? Up the top?
33-20.
Just an old 53 fights there, most of which have been in the UFC.
Yeah, as you do.
And he's still beating new signees. Like, the guy is fucking just hanging around. He's on a 3-fight win streak.
Yeah.
And you go back there to about 2 years ago. If you scroll down, everyone thought he was done. He'd see the 4 losses in a row up there.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was done.
Yeah.
And he
in fairness,
starts. And since then, what's his record since then? 2, 3, and 4. So his record is 5-5 since then. Okay, well, but like he's competed against the very best guys in the world. Look at those 4 losses. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Oh, it's 5 losses in a row. Even worse. Sorry. But yeah, Arlovsky's been around forever.
Yeah.
The man's just. I reckon he's invincible.
And,
He was one of the very first heavyweight champions I remember watching the sport. Like, that's scary, and he's still doing it now.
Yeah. And you have someone who's like Jared Vandera, who's only, what is it, like 19? So you're going up against someone who's 53, and then you have someone who's got a 19 record.
But 19 fights is still experience. I think anyone who hits that 15 to 20 fight mark, you can call them an experienced fighter, because they've been in there enough times to know what's what, and to know them, and more importantly, to know themselves.
Yeah.
They know when they're in trouble. They know when they're beat. Before your 10th fight, you don't know shit. Some guys do, but most of them don't know enough about themselves, or they haven't been in enough precarious situations to be confident in their own ability. You even look at Sean O'Malley, when Sean O'Malley lost to Cheeto Vera, and a lot of people said he quit.
Yeah.
Like, he was only after 10, 11 fights at that point. And I think an element of that was he'd never been in that situation and never been hurt in a fight. He was hurt in one previous with his ankle, and he ended up winning it, but badly hurt and felt like he couldn't continue. And maybe he did quit, we don't know. But like a guy, 19 fights, he knows enough about himself to know to be able to let his hands go.
Yeah.
It could be that he was starstruck, and Andrea Lavsky still carries a big name, but I don't know about Jared Van Der Raaf. He's going to do there at heavyweight at all.
Moving on now, we have the first of the actual main card. So we have Bobby Green versus Nazareth.
Hakbarast.
Thank you. I'm just not even going to bother with that one.
You're not on your own there, Liam. Just look at me as well.
Watching this now fight yesterday, I was trying to compare it to Sean O'Malley versus Chris Matinho, simply because we had Bobby Green, who was just piecing him up on the feet, and Nazareth was just kind of there, just punch me in the face, please. Like, you know, he wasn't really answering any of them. I mean, fair play to Bobby Green. Obviously, I mean, like, he did very well. Like, so you can't take that away from him. But I mean, what the hell was Nazareth doing, really? Like,
another guy, by the way, Bobby Green, who's had nearly 50 fights.
Yeah.
40 fights?
29 12.
29, 12, 41 fights. Hakbarast, like, and here's the weird thing about this. Hakbarast considers himself a very technical boxer. And he is. His striking offense is very technical. His striking defense, for the most part, he does the basics very well. What was he missing?
Head movement, really, was the main one.
To move his head off the centre line once throughout the whole fucking fight, and everything was coming straight down the middle. Yeah, you're like guys with slick boxing, guys with good hands, quick hands as well, because there was a clear speed advantage in that fight. You mentioned it about his corner.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. I thought surely at least someone of his corner would say to him,
"Get your fucking head."
Just slip one punch. That's all. I'm not asking for much. Just slip one. Like,
just go out like a fucking bobblehead and do this side to side, and just fucking rock. It'd be better than what you're doing, because
just standing there in front of me and working, like,
you get. Do you know the way, like, you talk about in fighters find their feet in like the second round because they've got someone's timing. Timing Nazareth Hakbarast took less than a second last night. It was like, oh shit, okay, his head's just gonna be right there for the whole fight. It's like punching a fucking speed bag.
Yeah, pretty much.
He turned his head into a speed bag. Yeah, look, very impressive by Bobby Green, though.
In fairness, you can't take it away from him.
Yup.
Next up, we have Renato
Moicano.
There we go. And Alexander Hernandez. I'm just getting like half of these names right now. I'm not even like just.
Fluffy Hernandez, who I'm actually a big fan of. Very explosive dude. But I had Moicano picked in this. Moicano is going to be fucking huge problems at lightweight. I don't think people are lads, his fucking post-fight interview as well was just gold.
I missed that now. What
absolute gold. He basically said he wanted post-fight bonus, but the way he was screaming at Dana, and he was like, I have kids to his. I have a live to live. Something else, and I was just like, what the fuck? The man's going demented. He was like, give me the money. And then DC asked him about the rear naked choke, and he, without intention, completely shit on his last 9 opponents. And he goes, rear naked choke is most basic thing in sport. Anyone can do. And they're like, yeah, but you finished your last 9 opponents. Most basic thing in sport. It's just like, anyone can do that. Like, what the fuck are these idiots getting tapped out for left, right, and centre? He has 9 rear naked choke finishes in his last 11 fights.
Jesus.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be a big fucking problem at lightweight, and very entertaining. And Dana didn't give him the fucking 50 grand after that as well. He should have given him just for entertainment.
100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up after that we have Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. This was an interesting one for me, simply because Brunson was doing so well in the fight. In the first round, he was really doing well.
Yeah. And
honestly, I could see Brunson just I thought maybe he was going to go to a decision, or else Brunson was going to finish it in the second or third. But just whatever came out in the second round,
he looked like old Brunson.
Yeah.
The Brunson who was a fucking accumulator buster for everyone for years.
Yeah.
Should I put him in? Should I not put him in? If you didn't put him in, he was winning.
Yeah.
If you did put him in, he was fucking showing up and just being wobbly head. One punch and the fight's over.
Yeah. And is Brunson training out of his own gym, or is he training under someone, or what's his story there like?
I'm not entirely sure. I know he was for a good while. He ran his own gym up, and he opened about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah. He opened. It is longer. Time is a fucking blur now with Corona. 2 years don't count. So about 7 or 8 years ago, he opened a gym in North Carolina, where he's from, Wilmington, I think. And he was kind of doing a lot of his own stuff from there. Yeah. I don't know if he's since gone to a team though.
Oh, okay.
I think Blonde Brunson and all this hype, I think there was a bit, he moved to a different team as well during all that, I think. But I could be mistaken on that.
But surely now, if you're Jerry Cannonier, surely he has to go for the title next. He has to be next in line.
He called for it.
Yeah. And he's I think he's ranked number 3, isn't he?
Ranked number 3 and beat the guy below him who was the 4 or 5 fight win streak, the guy that had the hype.
Yeah.
Because obviously Cannonier coming off the loss to Whitaker, he needed to kind of prove himself again. Yeah. So the only 2 people above him are the last 2 people to fight and lose to Izzy. Yeah. So under those circumstances, he's technically the number 1 contender by default. Yeah. But for me, I don't see how Cannonier offers a problem to Izzy. I think the style of fighter he is, I think he's too stiff. He's very good at what he does. Yep. But I think he's too stiff, and I think Izzy just fucking lights him up on the feet. Yeah. Lights him up on the feet.
Yeah. But again, that is the problem at middleweight right now, is that there's no actual, apart from obviously Whitaker, which we saw yesterday, but apart from Whitaker, there's no one really there to even challenge Izzy.
Yeah.
It's not in my opinion anyway. Apart from obviously, will I bother saying it, or do you want to say it?
100% say it. You don't know where the button is though.
No, I was actually going to ask you. I don't know
it's
which
the
one.
Pink one, I think. I think he fucking coloured it pink deliberately. Mr. Hamzat Chimaev when he eventually gets up there. It is it, but you don't have the volume turned up on it.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Kazmat Chimaev is the only person that's going to cause Izzy any kind of problems at all.
That's a bit down the road though.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got he's going to fight another 2-3 times a welterweight. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, is he going to go up and just fight straight for? If he's the welterweight champ, he's going straight up for that title. He's not fucking about and going fighting anyone else at middleweight. No, he's going straight for that title. So it could be something we see in the next 2 years, but yeah, Hamzat becomes a real problem for both himself and Whitaker. Yeah, but outside of the 2 of them, I think they're I think Whitaker is streets ahead of the rest of that division, including Cannonier and Brunson. Yep. And I think there's a decent enough margin again that Izzy is ahead of Whitaker. Yep. We'll get to the main event because I'm going to fucking lose my cool about people online talking fucking out of their arseholes. But look, Cannonier, great performance, but like you said, is he the guy to fucking take on Izzy? Yeah.
Anyway, next up we have definitely the most entertaining kind of two lads leading up to the fight,
Mm-hmm.
and arguably probably the most entertaining fight of the night. Arguably, there was a 1 hour one, obviously, but anyway, the Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis. What was your take on this?
Just, I mean, it's carnage.
Yeah,
It's, it's carnage that you pay to watch.
yeah.
Do you know, like, if you drive past a car crash, 90% of people will turn their head and look.
100%, yeah.
A rubbernecking.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis are standing near each other,
Yeah,
you're
wanna watch.
rubbernecking.
Yeah, 100%.
The guys, all they want to do is swing and take each other's heads off. And I was joking with you beforehand. You're going for Tai Tuivasa, right? He's going against. People said it was too soon for him to even get ranked when he did get ranked, and he jumped into number 11. He beat the guys to get there, but people were like, "Nah, it's too soon. It's too soon." He was 3-3 only a couple of weeks ago, and then he got to number 11, and then he got announced against Derek Lewis, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? This can't be right."
Yep.
Derek Lewis holds the most knockouts in UFC history.
Yep.
And he's been all week saying we're going swinging and banging and we're going to stand and trade hands, all this.
Yep.
Any person with like 4+ brain cells is going, I'm not fucking standing and swinging hands with you. You're a monster.
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa, and I'm not saying he has less than 4 brain cells, but he's just a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa was happy to stand in front of him and literally swing hands after getting rocked a bit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is fucking. He's fast becoming. I love Derek Lewis, one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, can't
But
fault them.
he's fast becoming one of my favorites. He knocked out Greg Hardy, which everyone hates Greg Hardy, and now he looks like he's going to be fighting for the title on a shoey diet, which is just absolutely fucking hilarious.
And like just talking about it with the shoeies as well. Like, I mean, you have a fighter here in Tai Tuivasa who's obviously a brilliant fighter in his own right, but also has the entertainment factor to go along with it. Like, they could do brilliant things with him if they just market him correctly.
He's won, is it 5 fights now in a row by knockout?
I can check there now. So, Derek Lewis, Sakai, Greg Hardy. Yeah, 5.
Harry Hunsucker. That one doesn't count, so he's 4 fights by knockout. You'd knock out Harry Hunsucker. So he's 4 decent fights by knockout. Harry Hunsucker one of these days is going to come try find me. Yeah, so he's 4 good knockouts in his last 5 fights and 1 washover, 1 no contest.
Yeah,
And people are still looking at him as a bit of a gimmick. I get it. He walks out to like fucking Spice Girls, or what was it last night? Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
yeah,
I mean, it's fucking brilliant.
yeah.
And he does the shoeies, and he's walking out the back, fucking beers everywhere, and just having a fucking giggle at the whole thing.
Yeah, but again, that's entertaining. Like, people are gonna tune in to watch that. Like, if I know Tai Tuivasa is on a fight card, I'll watch it because Tai Tuivasa is on the fight card.
100%. You're tuning in regardless of main event. You're tuning in regardless of what else is on the card.
Yeah.
You're going watching that fight.
100%.
He's damn entertaining. But my point is, is he the gimmick today? Is he going to be viewed as a gimmick next week after knocking out Derek Lewis? Because he's been the gimmick up to right now.
Yeah.
Up until last night, he was the guy. Yeah, he's knocking people out, but I mean, he's just he's a slob that he's got a big right hand.
Yeah.
Now people are looking at him going, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be fighting for the title if he wins one more fight.
Yeah.
Realistically. Or he could be fighting for the title next.
I was just going to ask you, do you think he has to win one more fight to get to the title? Because we saw Sergan beat Derek Lewis and then fought for the title.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, now Derek Lewis came off a loss against Sergan. Now he's lost this now as well. But do you think he needs one more fight? Who else is up there apart from Tai Tuivasa?
So what's ahead of him? You've Stipe, you've
Yeah.
Cyril Gane,
Yeah.
and Francis.
Yeah.
Cyril Gane just lost to Francis.
Yeah.
Stipe just lost to Francis.
Yeah.
We just talked about who was it as number 3 in the world now, and by default, Jared Cannonier. By default, they're the
They
number
has
1
to fight.
contender.
Yeah.
But Ngannou's injured. I think if Ngannou wasn't injured right now
Yeah.
and ready to fight,
Yeah.
it's Tai.
Yeah.
But Ngannou's injured, and there's the whole fucking contract shit going on.
Yeah.
I think there'll be another interim heavyweight title, second one fucking a few months.
Yeah.
I think that'll be introduced somewhere, and I have a funny feeling it'll be Stipe and John Jones. I was saying this to you. I think it'll be Stipe and John Jones. They'll convince Jones to come back in the summer,
Yeah.
and they'll get first crack at the belt. So if you're tied to Ovasa, he just loves to scrap. He probably he definitely cares about the belt.
Yeah.
And he's gotten up that high. He's going to care about how he managed his career from this point.
Yeah.
But he said it all along, like he just wants to fight. He's not going to fucking sit out for a year.
No, not even close.
So the options really are the winner of Blades and who's Blades fighting in a couple of weeks? Fuck. I should know this off the top of my head. But Blades is fighting in a couple of weeks. The winner of that fight or Cyril Gann. There are his options.
Yeah.
I mean, they are fucking horrible options.
Yeah, they're very bad.
Horrible options.
Yeah. Which one, if you're tied to Ovasa now, though, which one would you take now? Blades or obviously Blades, I suppose, surely. Over Cyril Gann? Cyril Gann's an all-round fighter. Blades just has wrestling.
Yeah, but Blades is a heavyweight who'll take you down 20 times in a fight.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, with all due respect to Taito Ovasa, I understand what it is to be a fat man. And I've done wrestling drills where I get taken down. Getting up is not fun.
No.
It's a lot of weight to be picking off the ground.
Yeah.
And especially if you've another fat man on top of you, it's not.
But then you have Cyril Gann who can also take you down. Probably not as much as Blades, obviously.
He won't take you down, though. He'll just make you look silly in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
He'll piece you up and make you look like you don't know how to box.
Yeah.
Like Ngannou had to take him down. If Ngannou opts to take a man down, he's a scary fucking individual. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing on his feet.
Yep.
If Ngannou is not going to trade hands with you, no one is.
Yep.
But like, I mean, what's Ty's option there? Ty's isn't going to go in and go for a fucking double leg against Cyril Gann. I mean, he's half his height. It'd probably be the low centre of gravity would work for him if he decided to employ a wrestling game plan. But I don't think he's good enough to pull that off against Cyril Gann.
No, probably not.
I think Ty's in an unfortunate position right now because you'd like to see him get a crack at the belt.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if Francis was available right now, now's the time to do it. But I don't know. I don't know if this is he's going to be the timing is going to be awful for him, and he's going to pick up a couple of tough fights now. Yeah. After this one.
Just thinking about it now, right? Though, with obviously the UFC London event coming up, and you have Tom Aspinall obviously coming up through the ranks now as well. Do you think we're going to get that matchup eventually?
Aspinall and Taito Ovasa?
I think that'd be a very, very good fight.
Very good fight. Yeah. But Aspinall again is a guy. Like, we haven't seen a whole pile of him just yet. Yeah. We'll pass verdict if he gets through this one. Yeah. But if he does, he's a guy that he'll be clever enough not to stand and trade heavy punches, and he has ridiculous jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So if he gets a hold of you, you're in trouble. Yeah. Again, I don't like that fight for Taito Ovasa either. Yeah. Once you get up the very top, it's all tough outs. Yeah. It's all tough outs. I think Ty is he's got a few rough ones ahead of him. But since he signed for the UFC, I've compared him to Mark Hunt, and that was Mark Hunt's career. He was at the top of the division. He beat all the guys below him, but he just struggled against the elite guys. But he was always entertaining. Whatever he did, it was entertaining. So I think Ty's going to fill Mark Hunt's boots very well.
Fair enough. And now finally getting to the main event of it, Israel Adesanya versus Rob Whitaker. What was your opinion?
I think he's even won that fight. I think I don't think there can be too much of an argument. I go back to I tweeted last night in just frustration during the was it the Cannonier and I think it was the Cannonier and Brunson fight where they were talking about the commentary team, Bisping and DC, kept talking about octagon control and how the fight was being scored on octagon control. Someone needs to educate these people on what fights are scored on. It's on effective striking and grappling first. That's what a fight is scored on, which is danger and damage worded nicely. After that, it's on aggressiveness. And after that again is on octagon control. So lying on top of someone is the third least, or the third most important way to score a point. Essentially, it means nothing unless there is no danger and damage difference between you, and there's no aggressiveness difference between you. And how often does that ever happen in a fight?
It's never going to happen. Really.
Never. But unfortunately, judges still fucking score it. The odd time, and it's wrong. But anyone that thought that Robert Whitaker won rounds 3 and 4 based on 3 or 4 takedowns, which he did nothing with, they're off their fucking head. I think he won round 5. I think 2 is up in the air. I think 2 was very close. It could have gone either way. I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have said no way if someone scored that for Whitaker.
Yeah.
But rounds 1, 3, or 1, 4, and 5, Izzy won those rounds.
Yeah.
Not even fucking up for debate for me.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, like I was saying to you earlier now, but for me now, this was just the same old kind of Izzy again. That like I compared out to the Romero fight in that, like it wasn't a great fight in my opinion. Like I mean, I get like I obviously know it's for the belt, so you want to play it safe or kind of play it safe and make sure you come away with the belt as the main priority, obviously. But I just thought like there was nothing special about this fight really. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he's fallen into that behavior of great champions, might I add.
Yeah.
Of least past I can't even fucking talk anymore. The least path of resistance.
Yeah.
Which, you look through the history of great champions. GSP, Anderson Silva did it for a while.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva, I remember Dana White was trying to cut him when he was champion for one of the most boring fights in history because he basically just did enough to outscore deliberately.
Yeah.
And Adesanya does that. He doesn't take risks. He takes the odd calculated risk.
Yeah.
Someone starts firing on him, he leans back and he throws a couple counter strikes. But Adesanya isn't going to get in a fight that he doesn't need to be in.
No.
Adesanya is comfortable in what he can do and just outpoint someone.
Yeah.
Does that make him less entertaining? I don't think so. I think he's very good at what he does. This is the argument I go back to when Cyril Gane fought who did Cyril Gane do that to before? He did it to Derek Lewis, but he did it to Curtis Blades before that.
Oh, okay.
Or Jairzinho Rosenstruck, apologies. Cyril Gane and Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Everyone said it was a boring fight. I enjoyed that fight. You're watching a man that's in complete control in a heavyweight fight, 5-round heavyweight fight, and he's in complete control for 25 minutes. It's rare to watch. You're watching a different breed in Israel Adesanya, and he was in complete control for about 20 of those minutes.
Fair enough.
So I don't think it makes him less entertaining. I know the argument that he could put on more of a show, but at what cost?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Anderson Silva did that a couple of times. He got knocked out by Chris Weidman for putting on a show.
I mean, I suppose definitely at that level down as well in the UFC. Like, if you're taking those kind of risks that aren't necessary, I get that. But yeah, I think it's what it came down to it. Like, I think it wasn't the fight night for me. Obviously, it wasn't even close.
Absolutely not. And don't get me wrong, a good fight, but there were some fucking fantastic fights on that card.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very good. Before we do go, I don't know how many people are watching. There's very few comments this week. We've been off for a few weeks. I get that. We'll be back in the building very soon. Oh, we do have a few comments. We'll get to them before we leave. Who do we have in the building?
I don't know this one. Whale Rider 3000.
Yeah, what's he saying?
What's up? What are we talking about? LOL haters. That was probably my fault. I didn't actually realise we had this many comments.
You're alright. No, he's saying haters because we were talking shit on someone. I guarantee it.
Oh, okay. Good day, gents. Arasky them. Bobby Green. I just throw this up on the screen actually.
Yeah.
Bobby Green is one of the favourite fighters, but he got so fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
Brunson and Sanford MMA.
Sanford MMA. Yeah.
Victoria versus Whitaker next. What do you think of that? Strickland versus Whitaker. I'd watch that fight.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's more appropriate. Yeah. I like you said, Vittori versus Whitaker, and it just didn't excite me at all.
Oh.
It should. It's number 1 in the world versus number 2 in the world. But I nearly fucking snored out loud when you said it.
Yeah. Strickland, I think Strickland's kind of like who's tied to Ivasa. Like, if he's on a fight card, I'm probably gonna watch it.
Except maybe like a less lovable version.
Yeah, exactly.
Who talks about murdering people very regularly.
Yeah, but he's
somewhere between Casey O'Neill and Taito Ivasa.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's obviously the controversial kind of aspect of him, like that you want to pay attention.
He's a mild Colby Covington. Yeah.
Fourth best heavyweight in Kentucky. Was that the Harry
Hunsucker?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I ever bump into Harry Hunsucker, he is going to fucking murder me, like. Or maybe 50. Yeah.
Blades versus Chris Dawkins.
I like that fight. Oh yeah, it's Dick Dawkins that he's fighting. Yeah. So and that's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight for Blades. I think Blades takes it though. So yeah. But if Dawkins got it, I like that fight for Tai Tuivasa. I think that's a good fight.
Yeah.
So I think if Dawkins got through Blades, I like that matchup for Tai.
Mm-hmm. And what about Volkov?
Yeah, Volkov's taking on Aspinall. Look, it's one of those that could go either way as well.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Aspinall take on someone of Volkov's caliber yet.
Yeah.
If Aspinall gets through it, he's right up there. If Volkov gets through it, Volkov fought a lot of the guys at the top and has kind of not got up there. So maybe a matchup for Tai, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about it now, the only kind of problem now I have, to be honest, with the whole, if Aspinall does fight Tai Tuivasa, one of those is gonna lose, obviously, and you're gonna they're both obviously.
You're derailing one.
Yeah, exactly. They're up and coming, and one of them has to lose, and it just doesn't look great.
The problem is you have a division with 4 killers in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Stipe Miocic
Yeah.
is going to go down as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Easily. Yeah.
Francis Ngannou is one of the scariest men alive.
Yeah.
Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou was afraid to strike with. You have John Jones lingering somewhere in the fucking shadows, doing coke and knocking down pregnant women, but he's still lingering in the fucking background. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one of the most feared fighters of all time as well.
Yeah.
If you keep feeding them youngsters,
Yeah.
you're not going to build up a guy enough.
Yeah.
So at some point when they get right up there, they have to face off to see who's the guy to get up there.
Yeah.
And it's giving them more confidence. They're fighting good guys. They're getting more fights under their belt before they get to that killer's row.
Yeah.
I mean, because the killer's row will stay the killer's row unless there's a good system in place to get them up there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, is that the end of the comments?
I think so. Yeah.
It was just Ben giving us loads of shit, so very good. Look, what I was saying, we have we're going to be more regular. Obviously, next week we're covering the national, so we won't have time to do a podcast next week, but we will be more regular on the Sunday nights going forward. So those of us that did view, thank you very much, and we will be back with you, and hopefully we can get more comments and we'll get some watch along with it. For next week, like I said, we have the nationals coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be live streaming the whole thing, every fight. We'll have great panels, great guests, and it's going to be a treat for you. That'll be over on the IMA Facebook page and on their YouTube channel. Something to look forward to. But thank you very much for joining us this week. Greg, where can we find you on social media?
So I'm Greg O'Sullivan on most of them, and Greg West MMA on Twitter.
Very good. And you can find me at Paulo D MMA on Twitter and Instagram. And be sure and go over to YouTube and subscribe at Guts and Glory MMA and give us a like on Facebook at The MMA Opinion. Thank you very much.